Hi, my name is Lisa Ward, and I am running for office in Alabama. Many times we fail to realize how critical exercising our voting rights are. We often see in our climate things that make us feel like our vote doesn't matter or count. And I'm here to debunk that myth and tell you countless times a race was too close to call, and it could have been your vote that made the difference. State laws change, and while we aren't paying attention, often they affect our voting rights. For example, there's a law in place that basically says if you don't use it, you lose it. But what does that mean? It means if you do not exercise your right to vote in 2 consecutive federal elections, the Secretary of State has the right to purge you from the eligible voter registration database. Now, for that reason alone, we don't want that to happen. Voting is a responsibility we have to show interest in sustaining our freedoms for democracy in this country. And the moment we stop caring about those fundamental rights, authoritarian government can slide in and our voice is gone. Each generation owes this pay it forward effort to protect what others before us have provided us, and it is our responsibility to do the same for those after us. So I want to spend a few minutes explaining to you something many might not have attempted to do. I want you to understand how important all elections are, how critical knowing individual candidates are, because forgetting about a straight ticket vote and taking the time to hand select each candidate that has put themselves out there for public service is important. They deserve our effort to look at their name on that ballot and be counted. That happens when you color in their dot on election day. This is one way to prevent voter fraud and hindering anyone tempted to split your ticket by coloring in a circle that you might have overlooked. Let me give you an example of why all elections are vital, especially midterm elections. That is when people aren't paying attention, but there are no electoral college votes interfering with our choices. It truly is one voice, one vote during midterms. And we need to take advantage of that. When you don't vote, you decrease the number of voters that are counted, and polling locations are reduced because of it. There is no need for them if there are no voters showing up to vote at them. One more thing, and again, just an example of why your vote does count. In our climate today, folks are not happy with their police officers and the job that they do. Not all police officers, but many. And I hope that you realize the sheriff you elect hires and determines the officers in your neighborhood, so that can be prevented by making sure that you know the leader of that department is worthy of our votes. So let's get started. I want you to understand what elected officials are responsible for and how their role affects your life. Shall we? Let's talk about the Attorney General. The Attorney General in Alabama is an elected constitutional officer in the Alabama state government. The Attorney General serves as the state's chief law officer and chief law enforcement officer. He may also initiate both civil and criminal court action to protect the state's interest or to enforce state law. The current salary for this office, I believe, is somewhere in the ballpark of $166,000 a year.